Hi everyone, this is Dr.Asha Rani, Assistant Professor R.H. Patel English Medium B.Ed College, Faculty of Education, Kadisa Vishwavidyalaya. And today we are going to have an exciting journey. This is for M.Ed Semester 1 and today we are going to discuss about types of essays. Yes, everybody likes essays, to read, to write, to listen and to speak. These are the 4 basic skills that we are pondering on while we are writing essays. So before we start our exciting journey, let us watch a video.
Tell me about yourself.
My good name Bholaram Misra. I am pure Brahmin. I passed away from Devta College in BSc Biology. I am huge fan of crickets. I am fast bowler. Many experts, batsmen always appreciate my ball. About crickets, I am also fond of listening music, songs like slow songs and especially moody songs.
What work experience do you have?
Work experience, last I worked with Mr. Rameshwar Tiwari. He is a farmer. We grew pumpkin, brinjal, lady fingers, big fingers. I am also worked as a part-time job in Urban Salon coaching as a teacher.
Have you ever worked in quality control?
No, sir. I did not work there. But I think that you will give me a chance for my bright careers. You know, sir, everything is first time. Just believe in me.
What do you know about fertilizers and quality control?
Fertilizing is my passion. As I told you that I worked with a farmer. Many times we grew up top quality vegetables in Bijnor districts.
You don't have experience.
But I am most excellent. I stood first in school and inter. In local newspapers, I came many times. People of Bijnor call me Bijnor ka Badshah. That's why I am applying for this quality control myself, good quality, sir.
Okay, where do you see yourself 5 years from now?
In coming 5 years, I see myself that I am working at your company. I am earning more money. I have many expansion plans, and I would like to open a branch for your company, especially in Bijnor districts. There is a lot of demands for fertilizer.
Yes, but doing what? In what role?
Sir, my mother say, whatever you do with full hearts. And let me say one thing, sir, wherever I put my hands, I always do good. I think that I am confident and I fulfill all the requirements for this post, sir.
Why should I hire you at Qatar Fertilizers?
Sir, as I told you, that's I am good, I am hard worker, I am responsible person. I want to make your company as a pride for the nation. My passport is ready, Tatkal made.
Thank you. We will get back to you.
Okay.
So friends, I think you have really enjoyed this video. This I came across on YouTube. And this video in which this person is really appearing for an interview in Qatar firm, fertilizer firm. And he is not at all prepared for that. He thinks that whatever we speak on the spot, it becomes quite relative. But that is not the case. Wherever you are and whatever you do, even if you speak, even if you write, you should be very much prepared of what you're going to do. So the first thing is that you need to expose yourself so much into yourself, not with others, but with yourself, that you should know what is going all around within you and around you. Second thing is that you need to describe very properly using exact adjectives and what is relevant to your things. That is very much important. And when you are saying about something very narrative, you need to be very outspoken in that, and you should be having a coinage with the words that you are saying. Similarly, when you are putting something very argumentative, you should be very logical in that, because that is how you persuade others. That is the persuasive ability to find others, to motivate others, and to regain what is lost within you and to make them understand what you really want to give to that specific thing. So dear friends, today we are starting our journey with types of essays, and in this type of essays, we are going to be very relative with these things. So let us see types of essays. Now this is in your M.Ed Semester 1 Communication and Compository Writing, and that is very important part in essays. Like the way you have written till now in the primary and the higher secondary level, it may be something around 150 words, 200 words, or 400 words, and you may be having a title with you and you are writing on that, pondering on the events and synchronizing with the words and sentences and the expressions of your ideas and the sentence structures. But here it is quite different. So let's see. Now, whenever you read a book, any novel, a short story, or even the poem, then what you come across? You come across that how is the writer, what he wants to say or what she wants to say, the way of expression, her voice, the style of writing. So we are knowing with the writer, with the style of his writing, the echo of his voice, and the imagination to which we are into. So my dear friends, writing is one of the most major aspects of language skills. And here we are not only reckoning with the writers but also with the viewers too. So once you are able to deal with all these things, we are into the perfect platforms. So the writer style is really a reflection of his or her personally unique voice, unique expression, unique way of writing style. So here we go with the categories. Let's see. So here in the screen you can see there are 4 categories of essays. Number 1 is expository. We will study in detail what is expository, descriptive, persuasive, narrative, and argumentative. These are very important types of essay, and we have one or the other way have come across these type of essays, but we don't know how to segregate all these essays. So this is the right time to understand what kind of essays we have dealt till now. So first is the expository. As the name suggests, expository, that means you are exposing to the main purpose of anything that you want to really explain. So it has a unique writing style in which the author or the writer want to focus on telling you about a given topic or a subject without voicing their personal opinion. That is very, very important, and that is the important point in expository essay. Whenever you come across any kind of expository essay, later on the part we will see the examples, but then the writer never imposes you to opine with them, but rather you could be very much knowing about those things, that is the facts, the figures, everything through the exposition of these things. So these type of essay include essays, simple essays, articles, which gives you a lot of information about a particular thing. Now the key points that here you can see is that it explains certain process. For an example, you are cooking or you are having a cookery show and you are the chef, so you are explaining the entire process, then it is an expository way of expression, right? It is usually in the logical order. Whenever you are writing an expository essay, it is always a logical order. You are following the logic. Okay, you are following the systematic pattern. If you don't follow the pattern, the process will be fumbling here and there. So it is better that we can always have a logical order in presentation, and that only occurs when we write expository essays. Then when we, the main important thing, when you would use expository, this is a big question mark. When I'm saying this, everybody is thinking that how we can write expository essay or where it can be used. It is mainly used in textbook writing. It is mainly used in how to write articles, especially articles that appear on the newspaper. Then, as I told you, recipe, the recipe is anywhere, my dear children, is only the main important thing is that you need to focus on the process. Where you find the process, then it is automatically becomes an expository essay. So newspapers, and especially not including anybody's opinion. As I said you, whenever we are writing expository essay, we are not enforcing anything, our opinion or our way, outlook, our way. We are not imposing that. We are just giving them an exposition of those things. Then it can be business, then it can be technical, then it can be scientific writing. Scientific writing also needs some logical orders, right? It should be very precise and systematic, and it has a process. And so the shortcut is that it needs a process, it needs a logical order. So wherever you find these 3 things, then definitely it is an expository essay. Now let us take an example. Now pumpkins. Remember, pumpkins are always associated during Halloween, right? So many people in United Nations and the place where pumpkins are used, the taste of pumpkins comes in between October. So the famous companies like the Starbucks or McDonald, they have this favorite lattes and desserts, and they always have this pumpkin pie. So they always give a kind of a brochure, kind of a thing, that what are included on in this recipe and how we can make a very easy recipe of pumpkin pie. Now whatever given in this example is relatively very close to expository essay, because it says that when pumpkin comes and how they are using it, and they are again elaborating how they are going to make the recipe. So this is something, an exposition of facts. Now here is, you can say, the reasons. As I said you, this writing particularly is expository essay, because it is explaining something, not in giving an opinion of the writer, but rather it gives that how it can be made. So this is all about a pumpkin pie recipe and how we can make those pumpkin pie in this particular month. So the very big names like the Starbucks and McDonald's are preparing those pumpkin pie, and we get an eye on their recipes. Now let us take this example. This is a non-example. So why this is not an expository essay? So the passage goes like this. Everyone knows that the best part about fall is all the pumpkin flavored desserts. Pumpkin pie is the best fall treat because it is not only delicious but also nutritious. Pumpkin is filled with vitamin A, which is essential for a healthy immune system and a good vision. Now, when you see this example, it is not an expository essay. Rather, it gives information about pumpkin. It gives how much nutrient it has. It gives more about vitamins and all sort of things that is essential for your good vision. But it is not relating with the pumpkin pie recipe. So this is not an expository essay. As I told you, this is not an expository because several opinions are started, such as pumpkin pie is the best fall treat because it comes in the month of October, because it is a fall October. Although the excerpt contains a lot of information about pumpkin, how it is useful for human beings, how much nutrients are there, how much vitamins are there, all these informations are given which is not related to the recipe, right? So this is not an expository essay. So my dear friends, expository essay means that which has a process, that which is written in a logical order, and that which doesn't have any opinion of the writer into it, or nor does he persuade about that particular thing. So these three elements are required for expository essays. I hope you are very clear with the examples that I have given. Now let us go to descriptive. As you have seen in the beginning of this lecture, I have shown you a video. Now in this video, you can see that the person finds it very difficult to describe about himself, right? He is not getting a proper word, a proper adjective, and nothing about a pure unreal relationship with what the interviewer is asking him. So this kind of thing, describing about yourself, is one of the very much essential pattern which is required in descriptive writing of an essay. So the main purpose obviously is to describe. As the word suggests, descriptive, that means to describe. Now this generally focuses on character. When you see any descriptive essay, you can see either there is character given, event given, place given, or it is given in a great detail about a sort of happening. So everything is described, everything is elaborated, and the center of attraction is a one particular thing. So whenever we are writing about any particular thing and we are describing it, then it becomes descriptive essay. I am very sure that all of you have written one or the other time about anything that relates to descriptive essay. Now the key points that is very much essential to understand, to disseminate and to critically evaluate the descriptive essays. Number one, whenever we say descriptive essay, we can find that the poets, right? The poets are descriptive. They write poems, and these poems are always descriptive in nature because they elaborate, they use words which are out of the box of the vocabulary, and they relate it very relatively. So it describes places, it describes people, it describes events, it describes situations, locations. So all these given in highly detailed manner. So that becomes a descriptive essay. Now, when I say descriptive essay, obviously the author always thinks from his point of view. Whatever he writes, he imagines, and whatever he describes about it, it is out of his imagination. So, what he sees, what he smells, what he tastes, what he feels, everything comes in the description. So, let us see an example after this. So, when would you use descriptive writing? So, we can use descriptive writing in poetry, as I told you, diary writing. So, many of you have this habit of diary writing. So, diary writing obviously is a descriptive way of writing. Then, nature writing. Then, fiction. That is also one kind of essays. So, whenever you read any kind of fiction or you fall in love with any character from the plays or the novel, then obviously it is from the writer's view, that the imagination, the creation of the character elaborated in such a beautiful way, the description is done in such a beautiful way that you fall in love with those characters. So that obviously is a descriptive way of writing an essay. It may be known as descriptive writing. Now let us see an example. Now we all love iPhone. 50% of people love iPhone. So here this example given. The iPhone 6 in unexpectedly light. Mark on the lines that I am speaking right now. While the size of its screen is bigger than those of the iPhones that come before, it is thinner and is smooth. Rounded body is made of aluminium, stainless steel and glass. The casing comes in whitish silver, gold, or a color the company calls space gray. The color of the lead of a pencil with darker gray accents. So this is a description of iPhone. So if you are supposed to write an essay on iPhone in a descriptive way, this is how you write. Okay. Now let's see. This is an example, a very nice example that I found that it is very much relevant to descriptive writing because it describes the aspects of the phone. It includes every minutest detail such as size, weight, color, material. Okay, so how handy it is. So all these things are given in a very descriptive way. Now let us take a non-example. Now how it is a non-example. So let's see. So you just brought home a shiny new smartphone with a smooth glass screen the size of your palm. The first thing you will want to do when purchasing a new cell is buy a case. So cracking your screen is awful feeling and protection is inexpensive. So when you compare it to the cost of a new phone. So here my dear friends, you can see that this is all about the case. All about that iPhone is so delicate that if you fall at any circumstances, it will make a very bad day. So all these things about iPhone, how you protect iPhone, not about the description. So this is not at all a descriptive way of writing. Rather, I think it is a way to persuade the audience to buy a case for iPhone, a mobile case for iPhone. So let's see why it is a non-example. Even though this example has a lot of adjectives, as I said you can tell this is not an example. Why? Because it more emphasizes on buying a case rather than saying about the good things about the phone, iPhone 6. Okay. Now let us go to the another type of writing essay that is known as persuasive. As you know that persuasive means to persuade, how to attract the attention of the viewers or the audience. So persuasive essay. Now the main purpose of this essay is to convince. Like in expository, it is exposing the facts, logical process. In descriptive, it is all about description of certain event, certain product or certain character. But in persuasive, it is all about convincing. convincing others to buy something, like the advertisement, right? So here the writer gives an opinion that persuades the people to feel, yes, whatever he's saying is right, or whatever she is saying is right. So to convince others, the underlining thing of persuasive essay is to convince others. How you are convincing others, how much convincing you are in your writing. So to convince other, to make them agree on that matter from author's point of view, right? So persuasive writing contains justifications and reasons that why you should buy certain thing, or why you should do this particular thing, or why it is necessary for your why it is necessary for your body. So all these things are persuasive. So you can see in advertisements, in commercials. So it is very easy to understand. Whenever there is an advertisement, whenever there is a commercial advertisement going on, or sometimes it is like this kind of essay, particularly marketing people also use, because they write in a very adjective way and try to opine everyone to feel that thing, and they try to do in a very convincing way. So that is also a persuasive way of writing. Cover letters, newspaper, and even the editorial columns of the newspaper, even the writers try to convince the persuade maximum audience that whatever he is saying is absolutely right and logical. Okay, now the key points. When I say key points, that means what is essential in persuasive essay. So it is reasons. Obviously, when you are convincing other, you should have reasons in your hand, right? So you have reasons, you have arguments, and then you have justifications for that. So three things are necessary. Which are those three things? Reasons, argument, and justification. Without these three things, you can't pursue or you can't convince others, right? So the author takes a particular stand or a particular place and asks you to agree with him, with his or her point, right? So he always persuade others whatever he's saying is right, because he has given his reasons, because he has given his justification, and he has placed his argument. So he will try to convince you, right? Then it is often asked for the readers to do something about the situation. Like for an example, nowadays you can find a lot of environmental imbalance, pollution. So you can see most of the writers, most of the environmentalists, activists, they always try to write in a way that convinces the people, yes, whatever they are doing is right and we should follow that. Okay, so persuasive, my dear friends, is about persuading others, convincing others. When you would use persuasive writing, that is a good thing. That where to use this persuasive writing. So whenever you are giving your opinion and you think that whatever you say is right based on your arguments and justification, you can see in the newspaper articles. And most important, this kind of writing comes in advertisements. If you see a lot of advertisements here and now, even in your social media account also, there are a lot of advertisements going on. So they have a wonderful way of persuading the customers or the audience or the viewers, right? Then review. Yes, that is a very important thing, like movie reviews or book reviews. So in a way, we always advise our students that have your own opinion, don't get away. Okay, so here what is happening is that every person is giving the review of a particular movie. So for an example, if you want to watch a movie, we will go that how much star it got. Is it having a 5-star or it is having a 4-star rating? Because these opinions persuade the viewers to watch that movie. Similarly, it applies in books. We see that how many readers are there for this particular book. And most obviously, the things comes when in weekends we have to search for the restaurant. Then we have a lot of reviews about the restaurants, that this restaurant is good, we can dine over here. So this kind of writing is known as persuasive writing. You are persuading the viewers, you are persuading the audience to feel what you are doing is correct. Then letter of recommendation, if you have ever come across a letter of recommendation, it also persuade others to keep this person in that particular place, or to have this kind of thing, or to have this kind of arrangement for this particular event. So we have letter of recommendation. Letter of complaint, you persuade the viewers that why it is a complaint, why we should take action, and why it is so noised up, right? Then cover letters, beautiful cover letters that persuade the audience or persuade the relatives. Now let us see the example, and I find it very relevant with persuasive writing. So you can see on the screen it is written that following the 2012 Olympics game hosted in London, the UK Trade and Investment Department reported a 9.9 million boost to the economy. Okay, so although it is expensive to host the Olympics, if done right, they can provide real jobs and economic growth. This city should consider placing a bid to host the Olympic. Now, in this particular essay, the person is persuading the viewers that why Olympics should be kept in London. Okay, why it is so, and he has justified his opinion. Let us see. This is persuasive essay, why it is so. Because the author has believed that this particular city should consider as a placing bid to host the Olympics, and is trying to convince his maximum to do so. And he feels that everybody will agree with the thing that he has given. So this ultimately becomes a persuasive essay. Now let us see the known example. So you will be more clarified with this thing. So what is this known example is? If I write like this, according to legend, the Olympics were founded by Hercules. Now almost 100 countries participate in the games with over 2 million people attending. So cities from Boston to Hamburg begin considering their bid to be a host city more than 10 years in advance. Now this is all about saying about the history of Olympics, how much people are involved in this Olympics, and how many people are going to participate in Olympics. But it is not convincing, it is not persuading the viewers that Olympics should be kept in this particular place. Rather, it gives information about Olympics. Let's see. Now, these statements are facts, as I told you. This gives more about facts. Therefore, it is more about an expository essay, because it is showing the process where Olympics started, now what is the scenario, how much people are going to participate, how many countries are getting involved in it. So it gives about the facts, the figures, rather than persuading the viewers that why this particular venue should be chosen, right? So you must have an opinion for that. So here you can see there is no opinion. Instead, they are giving a lot of information about Olympics. Now we come to yet another category, that is narrative. Narrative essays, I am sure that you all have been writing since your childhood. Narrative essays, because it is easy to write and is simple to understand, and it broadens your horizon and deepens your thoughts. So narrative essays are written most of the people. Let's see what is that. Now when we were children, we used to listen to the stories narrated by our grandmothers, grandfathers, or elderly people at home. So they used to narrate the stories so nicely that we get gloomed on that, right? So the author or the writer creates different characters and tell you what happens to certain things. Something the author writes from his point of view. So it becomes narrative. So the most narrative way of writing is novels, short stories, okay, poetries, biographies, autobiographies, because these all are written in narrative. There is a sequence of events. There is a character revolving, the ups and downs. Okay, so all these things comes in narrative way of writing, and this is one of the purest form of writing. So simply narrative answers the question. What is that question? What happened then? So we are very curious when our grandmothers, grandfathers, elders at home narrate the story, and we are so curious to know, and we ask our grandmothers that what happened next, right? So this curiosity is there when we are writing narrative essays, because there is an urge to know what happens next. So the underlining thing is what happened then. So you always feel whenever you come across narrative essays that this point is there, what happened then. Now what are the key points? Now here are the key points. Now here a person's tell a story or event. Now when he has a story and an event, obviously he has dialogues and characters. So if you have characters, you have dialogue, then you should have a logical beginning, a middle and an end, right? So often situations like actions, motivational events, disputes or conflict with their eventual solutions. So narrative has a beginning, middle and end. They have their characters, they have their logical understanding, dialogues. So all these things are included in narrative essays. I have seen that many actors, actresses, when they are listening to the script writer narrates, yes, he narrates the events, he narrates the story in a very beautiful way. Okay, so he elaborates each and every character so wonderfully that we say, yes, this is what I want to do. So narrative is also the way of writing the events, making the characters, logical understanding of the characters, writing the dialogues and presenting before that. So that becomes narrative essay. Now examples of when you would use, example I can give you that there is an example of narrative essay. I don't think that is a good idea, said Jelen. You never used to be such a girl, retorted, or in pushing open the door. Reluctantly, Jelen followed. Now this is a dialogue. This is a way of writing the dialogue. Now how it can be? Because it's telling a story, number one. There are two different characters, and it also showcases how the characters behave with each other, and it also shows where they are performing. There is a door, there is a exchange of words. Okay, so all this is given very beautifully in this narrative essay. Now let us take a known example so we can understand it very nicely. Cutting edge haunted house hold the Guinness World Record for the largest haunted house on earth. Don't be afraid. This is such a this is an example of a passage. So it is located in a district in Fort Worth, Texas, known as Hell's Half Acre. In a century-old abandoned meatpacking plant, the haunted house takes an hour to complete, winding through horrific scenes, incorporating the factory's original meatpacking equipment. Now, is it a narrative essay? Let's see why it is not. It explains about the setting for the story, but it needs a plot. It all talks about the setting, but it needs a plot, few characters, then it can be called as narrative. It gives information about all those things that are involved in this horrible thing, right? So it showcases the horror setting rather than giving about the plot, the characters, or even the necessary characters who are into this horrific or horror-based hut. Now we come across towards the end of the essays, that is argumentative essays. Arguments. Every now and then we are into the stream of arguing with each other. Life without argument is not at all good. It sometimes make us dull if nobody argues with us. But argue should not be exceeding. So while we are writing, we need to remember all these things. So in argument, what are the three things that you have to remember? Number one, state your opinion. Don't go by any other's opinion. It's your life. It's your perception. So have your opinion. So state your opinion is very much necessary. When you have your opinion, that means you have a reason, Yes. So give reason to support your opinions. So if there is no reason, then how can you support your opinions? That is very much necessary. Always argue against the opposite opinion. So when you are arguing against the opposite opinion, then it should be very much logical. You need to have a lot of things in your mind, like the presentation. Later on the part we will see. So these three things are very important. State your own opinion. Number 1, give reason to support your opinion. And number 3, argue against the opposite opinion. Now, to this, a writer must support his or her thesis with strong evidence and a sound logic. This is very much essential. You should have a strong evidence whenever you are arguing. Okay, so in the court you can see that the lawyers, opponent lawyers and the lawyers and the ray, they are arguing and they have a certain evidence with them. So whenever you are arguing for certain thing, you need a proper concrete evidence for that, and it should be logically prepared. Don't go as an astray. So it should be in a very logical way. Now it has introduction, it has substantives. So it has a body and it provides a resolution. So the main essential ingredient of an argumentative essay is that it should have a logical and a convincing way that whatever you are arguing is correct. Okay. Now let us understand how we can structure an argumentative essay. So number 1 is introduction. Now in argumentative essay, introduction plays an important role. In all the essays, introduction plays an important role, but here in this argumentative essay, introduction plays an important role. So it catches the reader's attention when you introduce the statements. Okay, so you should be very perfect in writing those statements that attract the attention of the viewers. Then it should contain a proper structure that we call as body. It contains well developed structures. Okay, that means the paragraph that you are writing, it should be very much associable. It should be associated with each other, and it has a coherence with those things. So it becomes more elaborative, more justified. Now let us see the structure in a more elaborative way. That is, 1 is the topic sentence or the reason. Number 2, as I told you, evidence. So when you are writing an argumentative essay, you need to have evidence with you to present logically those things. Then linking sentences. It is not like that I have something in my mind and I have written and I got an evidence and I write it down. No, it shouldn't be like that. You should have a logical way of presenting those evidence in correct way. For this, what is required? Yes, linking sentences. Then we have a third piece of evidence. You give lot of evidence in your arguments, that is also not good. You give proper arguments, proper evidences with linking sentences, which places the argumentative essay in a better way. Then we have concluding sentence. During the conclusion, you have to place it more in a very convenient way, why these arguments are right and what are going to be solutions. So these are the key points on which you have to really ponder on when you are writing argumentative essay. So what are those? Topic sentence, evidence, linking sentence. Then if you have another hand of evidence, you can present so, but it should be linked in a logical order. Then concluding statement, why your arguments are perfect and it is opined for that. Now, what are the 5 types of evidences? You will be wondering that we need evidences. So what kind of evidence? So here you can see that there are 5 types of evidences. One is real life examples. You can quote real life examples who have gone through this process or who have gone through these events. So you can have this thing. Then we have statistics, numbers. So if you are placing something very important, argumentative essay on population, so you have correct statistics with you that place your argument properly. So numbers also play important thing, that is known as statistics. Then authorities, if you have the credential of those authorities, then you can write their name or write their credentials. Then analogies, very important. If you are making any analogies means comparisons. When you are making any kind of comparison, it should be very much logical, and also it has an evidence. Like nuclear pollution. So why it's so, nuclear pollution is hampering the human existence. So you should have a comparison that the atom bomb, or if we generate this kind of energies, what will happen to the human existence. So you have a comparison of all sort of things. Then hypothetical situations. Hypothetical means tentative statements like imagination or created situation where you get an outlook of all those things. So what are the 5 kinds of evidences that you write in argumentative essay? Number 1, real life examples. Number 2, statistics, that is numbers. Number 3 is authorities, which have their name and credentials. Then analogies. Analogies means comparisons. And the last is hypothetical situations. Now, coming to the conclusion, rephrase your main point. When you are writing an essay, it's very, very important that you go through it twice, thrice and rephrase. You find that this phrase or this particular sentence is not appropriate, rephrase it. Always summarize your ideas or points. I think most of you do so, but then too we are always in a hurry, so we ignore this thing. We never summarize the events and the ideas. So what happens if you have summarized the events or idea? It will give a strong opinion of whatever you are saying to that. And always, very much important, it's like icing on the cake, is that always give a final thought to the reader, right? Coming to the last is that, as you can see, there are 5 different types of essays. Now it's up to you which essay you have to choose for your writing. So it is better that whenever you choose your writing, you should be very much knowing about the things that these kind of essays are favorable for your writing. So what are you waiting for? What do you have to do? You have to write an essay. So when you are writing the essay, you pick up the styles. Which are those styles? Let us recall. We have narrative, we have expository, we have descriptive, then we have argumentative, okay? Then we have persuasive. So we have to pick up the style. Which style I have to write and how I am going to do in this thing, particularly the best thing in this writing. So as a writer, you must know which style of writing will enable lot of audience for me and generate my thoughts to those people who are reading my essays. So you have 5 different ways of writing essays, and I hope that you will pick the right one and start writing the essay. If you come across any kind of difficulty, you can always Google it out, or you can read. The best thing is that you read a lot from the newspapers, from the comic papers, or from the short stories. You will get an idea of how the writer is doing. So the first thing that you have to do is that read a lot and find out which style is this writer is adapting and adopting, right? So I think that you all find types of essays really interesting and carry forward this way of writing essays in your class as well as in your life. Thank you for watching.